All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to CollegiateR6. We're headed into our final week of play this evening. As you may know, we had a bit of a shakeup. Instead of our earlier planned game, we'll have Florida Polytech University versus Kennesaw State Gold. Really excited to see how this map will shake out in the series as a whole. I think the Coastline, as our first of the series, I think will be a very frag-heavy map. This is something that me and my co-caster, Al, were just talking about.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great map to start things off, and it's really going to be a taxing map for these two teams. Of course, Kennesaw being the ones who did pick it up, they are favored, especially being on the attacking side first. So both teams are going to have to show up. They're going to have to start fragging as soon as they get into the map, and I, for one, am going to be really excited. It's going to be a great tone setter for this series.
Important to note is both of these teams are undefeated. They have not suffered a single loss so far this season, and we actually had Kennesaw Gold as one of our casted maps. That was during week 2, and it was versus a team that I don't think anybody really expected to lose. It was, I believe, University of Georgia, who is one of the most well-known collegiate names. They were a huge player during the Season 4 playoffs, and so to see them go down in the 2-0 fashion that KSU delivered is certainly pretty shocking. We've got the map bans, though, and Al, take it away.
Yeah, starting off, I think it was a bit of a shock seeing Clubhouse being banned out as the first map. That was FPU banning that out. So from the get-go, we were in for a pretty interesting series. Consulate being banned out next. No one really saw that not going. We don't typically see that map go into play. I love it very much, but unfortunately, it is not seeing the light of day, especially at this league. And I think that letting coastlines slip through, it tells you a lot about these two teams. One, with, I believe that was Kennesaw picking the map, or FPU, it tells you that they are ready to frag out. They are recognizing that they have a lot of mechanical skill on their players, and letting that map slip through for both teams mean that they're ready to take on that challenge. The two remaining maps in our series are going to be Cafe, and the decider would be Oregon. Very common maps to see. Oregon rising in popularity is one of the most popular maps, actually, of the most recent series. So I'm expecting that we'll see some pretty great innovations. And with how close these two teams have been, how close they are in the top of the standings, I expect that this is going to come down in large part to the fragging potential and really who shows up on the day, who shows up at the server, and who's ready to go into this map, and who gets a bit of a slow start on this first map.
You know, it's interesting that you mentioned kind of the dilemma of Coastline and how that goes in the map ban process. I feel like more than any other map in the pool, Coastline is one where you either pick it or you ban it. You're not going to let that one slip through unless you're prepared, just because of the fragging nature. It's not, similar to a map like Cafe, where I feel like almost any team can play it. You kind of have to come into it with a specific mindset, a specific play style, and you need to have that gun skill, because if you don't, you're going to get trounced. We can take a look at kind of rewinding the clock through the season and check out what games we've had so far. KSU played in their week 1 game, Kentucky. Then they played, I believe it was UGA. And then they played, I want to say, University of Florida Bulls. Um, Muskegon University, and then their final game
I
was
think that's how you.
FPU. So they've kind of had a
Mhm.
pretty wide selection of the games that you could ask for. But more important, you have to mention that Georgia game because it's kind of the trendsetter for the season. Beating such a strong team establishes yourself as that top dog. And so the expectations definitely on them. I haven't seen too much film on the side of Florida Polytechnical University, but I'm expecting them to come into this, probably push it to all three maps. But that being said, it's enough of the theory. Let's get into the game and check out the action for Coastline.
Yeah. Uh, there's not much more that you can say. You just have to wait and see to really see how these teams perform on especially just a frag heavy map like Coastline. We're going to be getting into the game, and I'm excited to see how the new ban phases play out. We've seen a lot of adaptations, very standard bans coming out on the rest of the maps. But I think that with a fundamentally different playstyle, I think these teams have a lot more leeway to play around, and we won't see the same exact linear playstyles that we see time and time again.
Nomad, the first ban here for Coastline, and definitely no stranger. Removing those air jabs is so critical to allowing the fluidity of the defense. The Monty ban as well is not something we see all too often, but I would say probably between the maps in the pool, banning him on Coastline probably the highest percentage just because of how valuable he can be in those first floor reverse plants. You've got to talk about service. A Monty in service, you smoke things out, get some Capital Flame Bolts maybe. That just makes it so difficult to deny as a defender, especially with the limited vertical play that you can get. A Valkyrie removed as well, so we've got kind of the poster boy operator bans in the Mira final. Not anything I would say that's too surprising for the map ban, or rather ops.
Yeah, and I think that a big thing that plays into the op bans is with, I believe Echo is still competitively disabled. He is one of the more common bans on this map, at least in previous seasons, and not having him on the board and being able to see a wider variety of bans, being able to take out more of that denial, allows the defense to allows the offense to really hound the defense. We'll be seeing Malusi, of course. She's nearly always picked if she's not banned out. And we'll be able to see a lot of fragging operators. Two of those D5 SMGs, Jaeger, of course, with the 416, and Maestro with the Alda 556. All of these players are poised in a very good position to take these gunfights. And it's really going to come down to who is feeling confident going into this match. As KSU, they have a very heavy frag lineup. A lot of these players have shown up time and time again. It's going to be an absolute clash of the titans.
Well, our first bomb site will be the very traditional hookah and billiards. This sees a lot of play, but I've been hearing kind of some clamoring recently that it's not the most defensible. In identifying that, you have to look at the courtyard wall. Getting that open limits so many possibilities, and especially with the advent of Ace and his Soma Breachers, it's so incredibly easy to get that open. You don't have to, worry about the long kind of detonation timer that the X-Pyros have. You just chuck on a couple of those Selmas and the wall is open up, and now the defense, they can't really play at the rotate. They can't really play on Billiards Bar, and that's one of the most common safe spots on this bomb site.
Yeah, and looking at my handy dandy stat sheet, Hibana was the most commonly banned operator, but as we say that, Kennesaw are starting things off with a vengeance. They are showing up on the day for the quick 2 kills on the board, and this is the exact tempo advantage that you would like to see for teams going onto this map of Coastline. They are feeling ready, and holy moly, Mango finding the kills early.
Really giving no room to breathe here for Florida. The Maestro frag back a kill onto Smack and shutting down the Zofia, but the pressure will continue to mount. Pre-firing, locking off the rotate. Draza just can't cannot find a way back into this round, and I imagine the post plant soon to begin. They've identified an Evil Eye, though, so you'll have to get that removed before you can begin the plans, or maybe just ignore it entirely. Rush on the side. Seems like the... I was going to say the latter, but the frags come through anyway. Mango on the round getting 3 entirely impactful kills, shutting down any attempt from the defense to retake that bomb site. And what an awesome tempo from KSU to kick things off.
Yeah, and that is exactly what you want to see for teams moving on to this map of Coastline. Kennesaw, they did pick this map for a reason, and they are showing exactly why. They are primed and ready to go for these executes. And we can see from their lineups, with Echo being banned out, it's because of his disabling in competitive play, it's much easier to go for these smoke plants. And as we can see with Ace and Gridlock being on the board, it only allows you to do that much more easily. Like we were saying, though, before, Hookah is falling down in popularity due to now there being 2 ranged hard breachers, meaning that you can't just ban out a Habana and not have to worry about the bar window, the bar external wall being breached. You have these Selma charges. KSU has more routes in towards the site, but we will see Florida return to that site, and I have to say, they're going to have to change something fundamentally with their setup, because Kennesaw, they just walked all over them, and it looked like it was absolutely no contest.
The interesting thing from my perspective is they didn't even need to get the courtyard wall open. They just pushed it through Aquarium. They were never in a position to get a refrag, it seemed, for Florida. KSU, they just slammed on the gas pedal. They got kill after kill. Yes, there was an attempt to try and trade things back from the Maestro, but ultimately it seemed like that had very little impact. We've identified a road.
This is one of the things that we see from tenured teams. The communication is just so great. And with Mango finding these wall bangs, with so many players just converging on this roamer, KSU look like such a drilled team, and we can see that as they absolutely thrive in the chaos mid rounds. They're able to convert these chaotic rotations of their opponents into free kills, and they're looking to do that once again.
Well, a bit slower on the round. We don't see immediate opening kills, though the Legion is certainly wary of the blue bar take. Continuing to repick, he's got some support from the Malusi. Pushing up, he could get aggressive if he takes out the Ash. Could be the tempo changer, but no. Smack will shut down Draza, and Mango tacks on with another kill, and now you've lost both your T5s. You've lost 2 men, and this just looks like another round where KSU have no mercy.
Yeah, I like the adaptation going with the smoke to slow down that Aquarium push that allows you to give yourself a bit of breathing room in comparison to the Maestro, who gives you more of that information. But Kennesaw, they're just playing around that perfectly. They're not giving in to the playstyle of their opponents, and they are just demolishing as they play their own style. They're playing it in this suffocating manner, and FPU, they just have absolutely no inroads to a victory in these rounds.
Really worrying that you start off in the round, and then it seems like you go down, you lose a kill, and there's almost no options here. I don't know what to tell Florida, because there's just kills after kills. Nice there from GoKill, at least down someone. I think the confirm might go through. I don't know how Mango is not dead yet. Maybe he's got a gas mask on, but swing around from the SMG-11. We'll get 2 more kills in the shotgun. Oh no, the potato! No! The clutch, it was right there and waiting. You needed to hit a shotgun shell center mass, but Smack, the smart footwork from him ultimately means that he stays alive, and what a heartbreaking round.
Yeah, and KSU, they did do a bit of an oopsie right there.
That was a fumble.
Trying to move in 1v1, v1, v1, and it's close range against a Smoke who has, as you may know, a shotgun and an SMG-11. Those things shred you at close range, but as we saw very briefly on the scoreboard, Goku has 4 kills, and the rest of his team, I believe, have a combined total of 0 on the board. And that is not what you want to see. The side of Kennesaw, every single one of these members, it's not just Mango who's stepping up. It's pretty much every member who's able to find these frags. Mr. Cool just hasn't been able to get into a position to even take the gunfights at this point. And they're all showing up. Kennesaw are primed and ready for this map, and FPU, they need something, because you see a whole lot of zeros, and they don't want to be going for the 007. And at this rate, it looks like they're going to have to change something. Otherwise, they're going to go for that secret agent.
Well, it seems the change that they've made is rotating bomb sites. We'll head down to Kitchen and Service rather than try Hookah for a third attempt. I think this is probably the right choice. This forces KSU to focus more time on clearing the roamers and going for top pressure. I would be incredibly surprised to see KSU attempt another rushing attack strat. With the luck that they've had so far, though, they might just be able to find success. Goku seems to have been pushed back from his position inside of Service, and a great rotate. Watch here by Stakes, making sure that they're not able to move back into the bathroom, but I think he's just a bit too late. Dr. Popper here, the Goyo behind Lobby Bar, seems to have escaped his doom for the meantime. More of a focus on the blue bars take from the KSU offensive.
Yeah, and we can see the gridlock dropping down those track springers. They don't... Tracks stingers, sorry. A bit of an alliteration right there, but they're just cordoning off those players. And one thing that they've done very well is that they've combined that with attentiveness to the roams. They're shutting down these players. However, for the first time in this match, it's Goku striking first, finding the kill for his team, and Kennesaw are now on the back foot.
That's certainly something to hold close and dear, and if we can see Florida build with another kill, this might look like a solid first round for them. You've got to rotate from Stakes. He just is constantly maneuvering amount of that. Tossing in flashbangs and wasting the ADS. But at 1:20 here, I think the big question is whether or not we see KSU Gold find a refrag, or whether Florida Polytech can shut things down. And that question is soon to be answered, as now you've lost your Malusi and Mango's killing spree continues.
Yeah, and more importantly, KSU, they don't take a single point of damage. They're keeping themselves alive in this battle of attrition, and now they're getting the Selma hard breachers out. Those tactical hot pockets opening up inroads into the site, and they're slowly chipping around at the ways of their opponents, but FPU striking back, and finally kills coming in from people who are not Goku on the side of the defense.
Certainly good to see some participation all around here for the defense, and Goku still continuing to get kills, but 2 traded frags will put us at a +1 man advantage, and actually we're equal to 1-on-1. The Buck at full HP wraps around the corner, but oh no, the Jaeger wasn't ready for the aggressive swing in the C8 SFW. The Buck gun comes out big, and well, a very close round. To say the least, Florida fought back harder than we've seen it all for them in this first map.
Yeah, they're starting to show up, and that's good. That is nice to see that they're finding their footing. But I'd really like to see the scoreboard, as I don't know if many of those other players, other than Danio, who's playing the Jaeger in that round, found much of an impact. And indeed, that is just Danio finding a double kill, and once again, Goku finding another double on these rounds. You can't keep relying on one player. You can't have the one-man show. Even if you are the best player in the world, you're never going to be able to carry your team. And it's on to the 3 remaining players of the side of FPU to start stepping up. They need to win their 50-50 gunfights, and they now have the utility to do so. They have the 416 on Draza, they have the T5 on Lone Sniper, and Dr. Popper with shotgun and the SMG-11 is going to be deadly at range. Returning to the same bomb site, they'll look to replicate that same success. However, it really just comes down to these three players. They need to start winning their gunfights. Otherwise, KSU, while these rounds may be close, every single one of these players, with the exception of Cool on the ace so far, has been stepping up. It has been Mango, Smack, Stakes, Stop Step Bro. That's a great name. They've all been showing that they are capable of taking these gunfights, and that is not what you want to go up against on a frag-heavy map where you can't just rely on your strategies to carry you through the series.
So, being that this is Florida's map pick, what do you think a 3-round lead means for the momentum?
It means that they really shouldn't have. I don't think they should have picked this map. With how they look as a fragging team, I think that they would be much better suited to playing around a more strategic map. And I'll have to see exactly who banned it out, because I'm pretty sure it was KSU who picked it. But this is going back to what you were saying in the pre-game. This is a map that you either pick or you ban. And I think I'm going to have to agree with you and say FPU, they should have been the ones who either picked it or banned it. And I think they should have banned it. They don't look like the massive fragging team that we've seen, and KSU has just gone up on another level.
You know, this really makes me wish we had some kind of context to what maps Florida have played earlier in the season, because you don't get to 4-0 by being a bad team. That doesn't happen. And if you can't frag, as we've seen from them so far, I don't see them establishing that record. So it makes me think either Coastline is absolutely not their map and things have just gone bad in the map ban phase, or it's possible that this is just an option. People, sometimes you show up, you shake, and things don't go your way.
And with this being the first map of the series, while you are able to warm up in your T-hunts and maybe get a scrim in sooner, it isn't the same competitive setting. You're not going to be going up against those teams who are playing just as hard right here. And it looks like KSU, they're just ready for this. You talked about this in the pregame. They are a gunning team. And once again, we're seeing KSU, they find an early frag, this time onto the Jaeger. It's traded back, and KSU, while they're leaving this late, FPU have some time on their hands. It's just going to come down to these chaotic final moments. I would have to say that KSU comes out on top, but this is as late as we've seen an execute come out.
Stalling it out here for the defense, definitely the right decision to make. We've got smokes though, and I wonder if they're going to attempt to plant. Lone Sniper continuing the pre-fire will take out Step Bro, and I don't think they're aware of this close plant. Smack will shut down one, star on the refrag, but with Mick Cool in a terrible position, flanked by 3 defenders, there's not a whole lot of chance for him to win in this round, and Florida will find their way on the board. So it won't be a 6-0 sweep for our first half of Coastline. Maybe they'll be able to fight it back and send us even.
Yeah, and what's really good is we saw some unfamiliar faces on the side of FPU find these kills. They're starting to wake up, and while it did cost them a few rounds at the beginning of this series, of this map, they're now on a good position. They've been keeping these rounds closer and closer. They've been incrementally getting better and better and better, and I think that if they're able to keep this form up, keep these rounds close, maybe tie the half at 3-3 or find a 4-2 split, then leading into this attacking side, which is the more favored side on this map of Coastline, it looks very good for them to retake the tempo of this game, seize, I guess, the pacing of the map, and really take initiative on this map where the tempo advantage is a key aspect.
You know, I would have to agree with you there. If you look at this game on paper, 3 attacking wins isn't too foreign, but the issue is the strength with which they won this wins. It wasn't, you know, just a traditional kind of frag back and forth and the attackers win it out because they've got the ability to apply external pressure from outside the building. Those first 2 were insane coordination from Kennesaw. There was no refrags. They shut down every opportunity, and they kind of just almost blitzkrieg their way on the bomb side. There was a big focus, I think, on the surprise factor, because there were no opportunities for Florida Polytech to figure things out, to say, you know, let's go back to the drawing board and kind of reverse the course of these rounds. KSU shut them out. We've seen them in round 3. They were fighting back. You remember they were ending, I think we ended it at a 1-1. So that's kind of a toss-up. And then obviously taking round number 4. It's a bit closer. I think the signals that Florida have started to fight back, and maybe they're warming up to get a handle on this map.
Yeah, and a lot of that comes down to just how well KSU have played as a team. They have the coordination, and we see that FPU, they have the coordination there. They've shown it from the beginning. They just didn't exactly win their 50-50s. And now that they're winning their 50-50s, it's coming down to the wire. It's not a blowout match. It's now coming down to who wins that final 1v1 and who's able to find the multi-frag on the round. And we're not seeing the same absolutely ridiculous plays coming out from KSU, with Mango finding 3 kills without line of sight due to just like the sheer volume of information that KSU gets from 4 players droning them in. But Smack finding the first kill on the roam, and in good time with still 1 minute and 50 seconds remaining on the clock. Mango is down, but they will be able to get him back up. FPU not able to capitalize on the down too much. This is a good sign, and KSU, reeling from the loss in that previous round, look to get themselves some aggression, step up the tempo, not leave this too late, and get themselves the advantage moving into this 5th round.
I wonder what we're going to see as far as the attacking execute, because pushing up through the Hookah Cool Vibe stairs, I feel like that's not going to earn you any favors. You've got drones coming in through Hookah Plat, so maybe we'll see somebody out there, but the attacker positions lean more towards kind of a big window push, which is almost entirely unheard of. The Sophia's rotate makes me think we're going to have some kind of split aquarium hookah take, and you saw how effective the aquarium take was last round. And check it out, the Selma on the wall will force Danio to rotate, and Stepbro tagging on with a kill, Goodlock chiming in. A refrag, though, to be had from the Rook.
Yeah, they just look so surgical. They're smothering their opponents from all angles. The Repel finding the kill on the Rook, and all of a sudden, in the flurry of kills in a matter of seconds, we see just a single remaining player. Dr. Popper finds a close range kill with the SMG-11, but Stop Step Bro is able to get the bomb down, and Stakes on the rotate watch, able to find pretty much a free kill onto Dr. Popper from that long angle. And this is just the methodical, incremental play from KSU. They find the kill on the roam. They recognize that there's a Malusi charge as well as some ADSs and a smoke playing on Cool Vibes, and that is going to be a death trap of a push. They set themselves up for their default execute. They stop the rotations coming out of sight, and they find their exit frags, and it just looked just immaculate. FPU, they need to find some aggressive plays while they're a man down. Otherwise, they're just going to get smothered. The walls are going to close in. And we will see an interesting 6 pick of the cap can.
So maybe you're bringing the EDDs to try and stall out some of the aggression from Kennesaw. As long as you identify the Capcan early, though, I think they're not going to let it slip by, and they should be a bit more cautious. Hopefully, though, for the defense, this should make them waste a bit more time. I think, though, heading back up to Hookah Billiards is a mistake. I probably would have attempted the blue bars hold, because every time we've gone up to Hookah, KSU have won by a large margin. They've established a strong sight pressure and almost gotten the diffuser down every single round. And that forces the defense to play a completely different game. You know, you've got, what, 3 players inside aquarium, somebody prone in 90 holding your angle, and there's not much you can do in that situation. So, you know, I would say head down to blue bars, though I recognize that the lack of the Mira, it is a bit difficult to hold, though I wouldn't say totally worthless.
Yeah, we don't see Mira being commonly banned at the highest level. Typically it would be that Echo and Maestro in previous seasons at least. So playing without it on this map should be interesting for teams to adapt to. But we can see them finding the initial frag. Goku rocks. He has just been the stalwart player for FPU. 9 kills so far in the half is absolutely ridiculous, leading either team as they're still just setting up. Kennesaw now lacking that roam clear of the Jackal, but they have been able to bring these rounds back from a man down. They have been able to show that they're in a great position to take these, and FPU, they can't count their opponents out just yet.
Well, the Kapkan tries to tag up the Zof on the long angle, but ultimately the M762 is the gun you want in that circumstance. Danio's still tempting Chrome on the bottom floor, could come up from white and try to dislodge some of these attackers as they go for their VIP execute. We'll see the wall get opened up as well through from 90, which doesn't happen all too often recently. It seems a bigger focus has been on the aquarium take from Kennesaw, but maybe seeing that they lost the opening engagement, they're going to go for a more conservative approach to attacking this. Probably the right decision, but Smack will make it a bit more in their favor as he puts them up, and it's no longer even, but the Zofia herself will go down. Luckily enough, she can just withstand.
Yeah, and Kennesaw, they just look so scary. They have so much versatility. They don't just need to go for the aquarium push. They're not just a one-trick pony. They have the adaptation in their hands, and as Stop Step Bro moves in towards aquarium, they have the multiple pincers of the attack. Mango stepping up on these frags once again, and it is now just into a 2v4. Low health is the silver lining that SMG and the smoke will show up big time, but it is going to require some amazing plays and some heroics to go for.
Well, it seems they've identified the Legion, or rather the Goyo, in the pre-fire. Mango finding himself a second. And it seems it's all but over as Smack finds the final one. The Zofia back up and into the fight. Will clean things up as KSU will exit the first half with a 4-round lead. This is strong from them. And on their opponent's map pick, we need to see a very strong offensive. And I don't know if that's entirely possible. Coastline isn't a map where you can just charge on in with one person as your star fragger. You need to have a bit more consistency across the board in order to formulate strong executes.
Yeah, and I think that that is one of the things that really isolates why I didn't think that the Kapkan was the right pick in that final round. The team of KSU, they're not just mindlessly aggressive. They're not skipping steps. They're recognizing that there's roamers that they need to worry about. There's controlled aggression from players like Goku that they really need to worry about. Otherwise, they're going to lose a member early on, and they have quite some time. And they're going to put themselves into a position to drone themselves out, to take out those EDDs before they find that poke damage throughout the round, and they won't lose all that much time to those entry denial devices. And I think FPU, they did lose out on some crucial utility that they could have used for intel gathering, as well as some other gadgets to slow their opponents down, maybe in conjunction with the Malusi that they bring. KSU, though, they looked so dominant on the attacking side, and while you do get to choose more or less who takes your initial gunfight on the attacking side with how you're able to dictate the tempo, everyone on KSU can frag, and this is just not what you want to see if you're a friend of FPU. My God.
Everyone on FPU can frag, except for Lone Sniper in this round because he's down for the count. And Smack almost tagged on with the second one. Luckily that no one tried to exit Ruins by going through Office, otherwise he would have been primed and ready. But losing your IQ early here makes it a bit more difficult in the vertical play. And KSU with a, I wanted to say an incredibly strong run, but it seems like they've given up the top floor pretty early on through the round. Maybe this is them seeing we've got the opening pick, we've got the man advantage, now let's rotate back and consolidate on our bomb site.
Yeah, and when you play a man down, this is typically more on the, well, on both sides. When you're a man down, you need to play aggressively, otherwise your opponents are just going to smother you out. KSU are not giving those opportunities, And Stakes, he just hits an absolutely phenomenal kill. We see Daniel answering one back, but they're still in a man disadvantage. Now they have no hard breacher. Now they have no IQ. And while they did take out the Legion, who's one of those more scaling operators, you still have time ticking down. You still have to worry about Smack on the roam, as you don't have control of the first floor with 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining on the clock. And KSU, they look primed to take match point.
I wonder if there's a drone sitting on 90 corner here, because Smack has a perfect opportunity to get the sledge. I imagine the Mute is constantly relaying this intel, and you'll see him begin to creep up. They have a drone, so they should know this, and you can see it's blinking. That should alert the attackers that somebody is trying to interrupt their process. Moving slowly, Smack will clear every angle and make sure that he's not caught off guard, but Goku, the soft freeze players, actually rotate, and Draza and Danio are over towards the main stairs, so they shouldn't be too weak. The issue on this round, though, for Smack being inside VIP, having Sledge open everything up, you can easily deny a kitchen window plant, and without positions outside circle, I don't imagine we're going to be seeing a storage plant.
And he finds the backstab. Oh. He does get traded out, but with the time down, with Mr. Cool being in position to find this kill as well, FPU, they're going to need to find some aggression. The initial kill is exactly what they need, but it is still a 2v2, and with Smoke not having to deploy any of his smoke charges until the final seconds of this round, this is looking very difficult for the side of FPU.
Making their way on the bomb site is not going to be an easy task. Stepbro will shut one down, and Daniel leaping over the shield is an easy kill for Mango on the SMG-11. A very controlled spray will earn Kennesaw State gold, the match point. 6-1, a strong lead, and they're not done yet.
Yeah, they just looked absolutely dominant. FPU, this is their map pick, and I got a fear for them. Maybe they had a strength of schedule moving in. They had a weaker schedule, but it doesn't take a schedule that's terrible to get you to 4-0. It has to be a good team to get yourself that lineup, that score leading in from the regular season, and they just might be having an off day as they look absolutely clueless in terms of the fragging potential going into this map. It has looked better as time has gone on, but KSU, they've just looked a class above their opponents as they have 2 players on double digits, where FPU, they have 1 player with 5 kills, 2 with 2, and Goku on another level, with no one really matching his performance on his team.
No.
Okay. I'm kind of searching for reasons why FPU would pick this map and perform so terribly on it. And part of me thinks that because they're 4-0, maybe this is them going to a map that they don't like and they're trying to hide things for the rest of the season. But I don't know, that seems kind of flimsy, just, you know, saving strats.
Yeah.
It's so confusing.
This is just for seeding, but
right.
FPU, this isn't exactly the confidence that you want to bring. This isn't the feeling that you want going into the playoffs, getting absolutely slammed. And I think that we'll be able to show it if nothing changes in the next few seconds. Draza, he has accomplished an absolute feat. The name's Bond, James Bond. He goes 007 in the match. Despite FPU winning a round, he's died in every single other round. Has not found a kill or an assist. An unfortunate achievement to make, and it looks like, my God, Smack finding the initial kill. Kennesaw, they want to end this. They want this to be the speed run any percent of Coastline, and it looks like they're going to be just doing that.
You know what confuses me, Al? I feel like if you were saving strats, a 4-0 team would at least have something strong for defaults on Coastline. Yeah. There's just really no room for a possibility here. Mango almost missing the opportunity to get that kill onto Draza, but 007 now to 008, he will remain.
Yeah, going on a map like Coastline, there's less moving parts in terms of your attacks. They're more streamlined, and it does come down to the fragging potential, which FPU has been lacking in. And I could understand why they wouldn't bring themselves to a normal map, but if you're wanting to save scraps, you can still just run your defaults on a map like Coastline, on a map like Cafe or Clubhouse. I'm really searching to find a reason why FPU chose this map, because they may be an amazing fragging team, but they're certainly not showing that to us in this match. And Kennesaw, they look like they have something to prove on this match, because they look like, by and large, the better fragging team, as they are just holding their opponents at arm's length as the time ticks down.
Kennesaw are historically a very good gun skill team, so it could be something down to a mismatch, and maybe they just didn't do their block review. The Gridlock is in a bit of a pickle here, trying to move up the stairs. She's slowed by the Malusi Banshee, and Kate will collect 2 mistakes with the final kill. Kennesaw Gold, the shot out 7-1 victory on their opponent's map pick of Coastline. Head up 1-0 in the series. Our next map, Cafe, much more structured. Florida's last hope, and you better expect them to be ready, because if they're not, well, their flawless record will be tarnished.
Yeah, Kennesaw, they just looked absolutely dominant, but we will be going to a very short break as we return with the second map. FPU, with it all to prove, they looked like they had some glimmers of hope. There's a silver lining. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, but it's diminishing quick. But we'll have to see how that happens on our next map after a very short break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. We are coming back to map 2 of Kennesaw versus Florida on our second map of Cafe Dostoyevsky. Our first map of Coastline was a bit of a blowout, Kennesaw taking the victory 7-1 in a dominating fashion. However, we move to the second map, and one that doesn't rely necessarily as much on the fragging potential. We might be able to see the comeback coming out for Florida as we move into the ban phase. A more typical map, a more typical play style, and it'll be one more exhibitant of the more strategic minds that Florida has to offer for us.
Well, Thatcher ban, that's the gimme kind of pick for Cafe. He doesn't get a whole lot of play, and it's unfortunate because when you've got a Thatcher ban, it tends to make things play a bit more slowly. Kennesaw really do not want the Monty ban. This is just something they will remove no matter what, and I don't know really what to say about that. Maybe the shield is just something that has had them struggle a lot in the past. Obviously, it can be a bit difficult to play against a shield, and a map like Cafe with a lot of really long hallways on the top floor does give you a bit of help, and you can clear out Pixel a lot more easy when you got a Monty. You just gotta move in, stand next to the shield, and then the defense, they kind of have to scramble for what to do. We'll see the mirror removed as well. Very powerful operator. And the Valkyrie, she's seen a bit more play recently, and it's got a lot to do with aggressive runouts. I believe it was during the major recently for Europe, Virtus Pro made a lot of work with the Valkyrie cameras continuously jumping out. And so maybe this is them trying to prevent a little bit of aggression from Kennesaw.
Yeah, nothing too much out of the ordinary. Valkyrie, a very common ban to see, as well as the Mira on the defense, especially with Echo, of course, being automatically banned. On the attacking side, we do see teams in EU, specifically G2, with Pangu usually reprising the role of the Montaigne, utilize that operator. He's not the most commonly banned on this map, but he is very powerful in the right hands. And if you're not prepared to deal with it, then avoiding that entirely is something that I can respect. I can understand why Kennesaw would decide to do that. But we will see them starting on the attacking side, and they have looked very, very competent. I expect them to be able to clear out this pixel angle sooner rather than later, and be able to mount an aggressive push with the ace on their side. It allows you to make these pushes from piano much more easily. It allows you to get that hard breach onto the freezer walls much safer than you would typically with a thermite. And Florida, they're going to have to show that they're a proactive team. They can't just let their opponents walk all over them, and that is going to have to come out either through the roams, either through some aggressive swings. Something needs to be done to stop just this relentless pace coming out from these attackers.
Competency in a side we saw for the coastline aggression in KSU is definitely something you want for Cafe. If you don't have confidence that you're going to be able to take control of Cigar, achieve all of the steps on your checklist, it's going to make attacking really slow, and no one wants that. Nobody wants to be sitting inside Cigar with a minute on the clock because that signals issues in other areas. You need to move swiftly, clear out the pixel position, and make sure that Wamai doesn't take anyone with him. This is a very rudimentary step. Every team should know how to clear this, but the Wamai will be able to get a pick, and Goku is killing spree as we saw on Coastline. We'll continue on to our second map.
Yes, but the crucial aspect is that more than just Goku has to step up. Now we see the Astrod coming into play. We'll see him being forced out of that power position with a very difficult, costly measure. Kennesaw will be able to avoid that position. Now, with Smack, though, being taken out, those are two of those Zofia charges down. They may not have the explosive utility to deal with all of these bulletproof gadgets. And that is the power of the Jaeger-Wamai combination, as well as bringing a Malusi and Maestro. You burn out so much utility. You don't have enough bank to deal with all of the ADSs and Magnet. You're going to have to burn some of your Zofia charges. And FPU, with the power of Goku, they have been stepping up. And Kennesaw, they're not replicating their success.
I don't think trading the life of Zofia for removing the missile position was a very valuable trade-off. You'll see.
God.
Okay, Step Bro, he's trading things back, and this round has gone from a shutout to a very possible win here. If Step Bro can get a kill onto Goku at the bottom of the stairs, this might just be a round stolen. Moves on up, he spots the head, but Danio in Deep Freezer, and oh no, trapped in the rotate. Step Bro, what is going on inside Freezer? He's got to pull out the pistol to get the job done, but ultimately, the poor rotate, he just couldn't get his feet over it, and getting a bit trapped inside of Freezer. That looked very worrying for Florida there at the end, and it almost looked like Nomad was going to be able to find herself a massive clip. But ultimately, the defense will start off with a victory. And what do you think about kind of the mid-round frags back and forth that we saw? Because I feel like if we had the refrag, if Kennesaw lost Zofia, removed the shield, and then was able to kill someone, maybe kill Goku. That's a bit of a treasure trove to get. But if we saw them remove Pixel, put it at 4-4, then I think that's a situation where we see them win. But you can't go down after already losing a man. Putting yourself at 3-4 attacking the top floor bomb site is terrible, because the defense, they get their full range of those power positions, and the top floor just has so many of them.
Yeah, I think this comes down to the same issues that we saw from the side of Florida in the previous match. We see Danio stepping up as well as Goku. Those are two figures that we saw in the previous match. Danio, while he didn't have the lights-out performance that he's looking to set for us this map, he did have a solid, respectable, I believe, 6 kills at the end of the 8 rounds. 8 rounds. And Goku with a solid 12 kills, 12 or 11 at that end of that map. Those two players we know are solid. But Kennesaw, if they can shut those two players down, the rest of their team just has not had that impact. While they have been a great supporting cast, they haven't exactly found those frags. And if Kennesaw can figure out a way to isolate those positions that they're playing in and isolate the players and the play styles that Danio and Goku are playing in, FPU are in for a world of hurt. And they're going to need to think of a way to fundamentally change how the remaining 3 players are playing. Otherwise, Kennesaw, they're just going to run away with this match. Oh, man.
Oh, no. Well, I wanted to make a point, because when you've got a roster like Florida led by a star fragger such as Goku, shutting him down gives you so much leverage. But it seems Danio is the one to die early, and hopefully what this means for Kennesaw is they have less of an issue establishing the vertical play. When you're worried about roamers attacking you from the fringe, it does make it a bit more difficult. Oh no, they spot him! Oh, Goku is down, and what a shot by Smack. 2 floors down, he's got the elevator going on.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of 2 very distinct stages of the French powerhouse team that we now know today of BDS. Initially, when they were in, it was the Chico show, and he was stepping up, carrying them through Challenger League, and Kennesaw, they look like modern-day BDS. It's not just the Chico show, it's not just Mango stepping up, it's Smack, it's Stop Pro, it's Stakes, they're all present on this map, and it is very scary because once you see these players of Danio and Goku Rocks being shut down on your opponent's side of FPU, your remaining 3 players have a grand total of 0 kills between the 2 of them, and they had a grand total of, I believe, 6 kills between the 3 of them on the previous map entirely. They're going to need to step up, otherwise this is going to be another absolutely one-sided affair from the side of Kennesaw.
last time I saw Kennesaw play on Tekken, they took a 7-3 victory versus that UGA game that I keep referencing. So they've got a bit of history on this map, and it seems FPU will fight back. Though not getting the refrag is crucial. It allows Kennesaw so much maneuverability and shutting down the Maestro. You're no longer worrying about the Alda on a long angle. The Cade survives by the skin of his teeth, though, shutting things down, and you better hope the diffuser is successful, otherwise things might have just got a bit too close to call. But Draza, Mr. Bond himself from Coastline, is last alive, and Smack rounds the corner. He presses the trigger, and KSU put us at 1-0.
Yeah, and Kennesaw, you can see what they're doing differently than their opponents. FPU, we saw one of their biggest issues in the previous game and in their rounds was they didn't trade their kills out. Goku and Danio, they were just killed, and there was no answer. You look at the side of Kennesaw, and while they did lose 2 members in that execute, each of those kills were traded out. They had players right next to them in a position to find the trade frag, find the secondary swing, double peek them, or find a crossfire. And that's just the micro positioning of the side of Kennesaw that are finding them these wins. They're looking like just such a competent team. And with so many of their players able to take those primary frag roles, able to entry frag for their teams, as well as step up from the supporting roles and those tertiary fraggers like Stepro and Stakes, who also are in their own positions, able to clutch out rounds, able to set themselves up. It just looks so scary, considering that you have so many different threats to worry about. And looking at the other side, FPU, well, Draza and Lone Sniper, they have found themselves a single kill on the board. Kennesaw just ran away with the previous round, and they look to have adapted to the playstyle of their opponents, and they just look to be the more malleable team.
That I believe FPU could do with is maybe decide to bring in Vigil. Being able to evade droning from Kennesaw would be so much more helpful because you can waste more time, and that gives the defense a bit more flexibility on the bomb site. In the last round, the roam was shut down almost instantly. I know you saw Danio on brown stairs. He tried to rotate. I honestly don't know what he was doing in such a weak position. If you had hit him maybe in a corner somewhere inside train, he could have found a lot more success. But he died really early on, and that led to a place where Kennesaw were able to establish so much vertical play. We saw Zofia tag on after that. She got the second kill of the round, putting Kennesaw at 5-3, and that allowed them to attempt a very successful execute. Smack is tagged up again early, but Jaeger rotates and gets cut down. Mango is positioned inside Mining Hall, and Jaeger had almost no idea.
Yeah, one of the amazing initial plays that I wanted to see coming from the side of KSU was their clearing out of those Maestro cameras. They set themselves up in such a great position. Stakes opening up the window with an easy shot from Smack, able to get themselves into a great position, able to step up the tempo. And that's just why Kennesaw are in such a great position. They are taking this tempo advantage. They're taking the early positions. They're not wasting a single second clearing out the utility of their opponents, and they're just doing it so fluidly. And finding initial kills on top of that with the roam clear unanswered once again, it is just a disaster for the side of FPU. And even Goku going Super Saiyan, I don't think that'll save them at this point.
It would be a very tall order, and he almost goes down immediately. Smack tags on. Okay, well, your power player goes down, attempting to rotate and play Whiskey, and now you're left to hope that Maestro can win his ones and his long angles through the mid-sight. Smack being on low health could be an easy kill, but McCool will take out Lone Sniper, and so the frag has still not yet come out. Mango leaping over the R4C, attempting to find the Maestro, and he gets through the smoke. Wonderful shot there. Draza climbs onto the leaderboard, but Smack is alive and ready to get another kill for the Sophia, and Kennesaw take a second consecutive attacker win. Kitchen.
Yeah, and Kennesaw just looks so drilled. They know how Florida are setting themselves up. And once again, though later in the round, and though they did find a bit more damage onto their players, they did the same exact thing. They killed Danio, they killed Goku, they set themselves up for the take, and they executed. When they executed, they found their trades, and this time they only lost one player. They were able to get themselves into position far quicker than they did in the previous round, and they look just surgical taking these. We now return to the third floor, where Florida found their lone round win, but it was off the back of some hero plays. We saw some incredible performances from Daniel and Goku in that round, where they found their 3 and 2 kills, respectively. And without that same reciprocal performance, without the same ridiculous fragging, Kennesaw just looked like the more rounded out team. They look like just a team that not only knows how to play around their aggression, but has the strategy to boot. There's no clear weakness in them. There's definitely things that they could be doing better, but they look like a very solid team with a great fundamental base, and they just look like they've been putting in their work.
You described Kennesaw as being drilled, and I think that's important to look at. Every round, it seems like they come into the attack with a plan. In the last round, you saw the kill that Mango got in taking out Danio, who wasn't ready for someone to be at the mining double door. He tried to rotate out after almost, credit to him, almost getting a kill into the Sophia, which could have been monumental to see FPU open up with a kill removing so much utility, but it seems like KSU is prepared for almost every eventuality, and unfortunately their Goku breaks his shield in attempting to remove a missed Lamai magnet. He will get away with it, luckily, and unfortunately it seems like it's not too long, and I wonder if maybe had he replaced that Lamai magnet, things might have gone different, but this is huge for KSU. They've removed the Pixel Goyo, and they don't have somebody die in that situation.
Yeah, you nailed it right on the head. They found the issue point in the first round, and while that was a bit of a mistake from Goku, who landed the Wamai Magnet just a tad bit too close, KSU are ready for the aggression. They know that FPU needs to find an aggressive play, otherwise Kennesaw are just going to collapse on them. Stepbro is ready for that, and while Lone Sniper still finds a kill, it's still a very good position for the attackers. They have themselves positioned, they have themselves control of the map, and they've looked so dominant even when trade frags have come their way.
Speaking of trade frags, McCool takes that Draza, and now, again, FPU are dancing, looking for some way to make this a winnable round, and it seems like Dr. Popper will try to hold the conservative angle. Mango, though, moving in, will soon establish that tarps and pallets are clear, and this should be an easy closeout. All they have to do is figure out whether or not Cocktail is clear, and if Mango swings wide here, he could easily get Danny. Spots the Jaeger, though, and attempts that gunfight. It seems Kennesaw are a bit stalled out, and no, the Nomad on the wraparound coming through from deep wall. The flashbang toss into Cocktail, but the Jaeger actually survives, and the Ashdown as well. Denied the plant, but a Nomad air jab will alert the Maestro's position, and now as the defuse has gone down, the post plant begins. You only need to find one frag, and McCool, well, he's already well on the way there.
Yeah, and this is one of the crazy things. We saw McCool. He was the bottom fragger in the previous match. Now he's stepping up. Now he's finding the kills, and that's very scary. I don't know who the IGL, the in-game leader on Kennesaw is, but I want to shout them out. They're doing an absolutely fantastic job. It's not just hero plays coming out from their players. While they are winning their ones, they are winning their duels. Kennesaw are in a great position. They recognize exactly where their opponents are and where they're not. and a great mid-round adaptation for Step Bro to push up, finding the kill onto the Legion, threatening that cocktail position, and eventually just rounding that round out. They looked so surgical in terms of their positioning. They recognized where their opponents were. They never panicked. They never overstepped their bounds. They all played off of each other in such a great way, and they just look fantastic. Florida, they have been stepping up. Draza and Lone Sniper have been showing up, but that also has been at the case of Danio and Goku, who have not found kills since the first round in this match. And now Kennesaw, they found their momentum, they found their tempo, and they just look like an absolute steam plow that has no sign of stopping anytime soon.
Curious that we'll see them again try the top floor hold. I think I made this point similarly on hookah, because Florida played hookah billiards 4 times, and they didn't win it once. And so it's starting to kind of go towards that same trend. Why are you continuing to repeat a bomb site that clearly goes to favor of the offense almost every time? At this point, maybe some variety could change the momentum. Maybe go to reading. It's a bit of an unusual bomb site to attack. You need to kind of make a decision whether or not you're going to go for a top floor clear or the train bypass, as you call it. Maybe that's what they need here, and I'm hoping that FPU can start to push things back, because 3 attacker wins on a map like Cafe tends to put you in a position where you have the momentum to further, on the defense, close it out, and I don't want this to get close out. I want to see Florida Polytech fight back and push this to our decider map forward.
And we can just see Kennesaw, they're getting themselves in such an advantageous position. They've recognized that, yeah, they did have a higher investment from the side of Florida with more ADS, more magnets pushed towards that pixel position. And as such, they warranted much greater aggression to take that position. Now Kennesaw have control of that area, and they're not relinquishing it at anytime soon. While they didn't find the initial kill, they have map control, and they're just looking so solid. Florida, they don't have that depth of strategy. I would love to see them go to the second floor, but Kennesaw on the reverse side, they look so dominant in terms of not only their fragging potential, but their actual just default plays. They have their default strategies run down. They look so drilled in terms of this, and they're not making any missteps.
Ooh, Mango will find the opening kill. He's out damage. Now with the freezer wall open, they're going to try to push in, but a bit hasty there from the Ash. She'll go down at the hands of Goku, but Stakes is trading things out, and Smack as well. With Lone Sniper and Goku on low health, this is a very worrying round, and they're both stacked up in the same position. Nomad once again at that Shiko position, as some call it, though in a reversal of fortune for the attacker there. Jaeger's position is known, and an easy 2K, and oh, it was a team kill for Lone Sniper. I have a feeling... Okay, so it wasn't just directly a team kill, it was a confirmed down from the Jaeger, but still, that is not going to help you in the points game when you're already struggling so much. And, well, the third floor, I feel like for Kennesaw, as long as they take Pixel without losing a man, they tend to find a win.
Yeah, and we saw that the only round that Florida won on this map was when Goku found an initial kill onto Smack from Pixel. Smack has been finding these rounds time and time again, and here's the adaptation that you said that they needed. Vigil is stepping up, is appearing on this round. It's a good adaptation. I agree with you, Stick. I think that is a great play for the side of Florida to be using, but it may be a day late and $1 short, as they are in the final round of this half. I would have loved to seen the second round, the second floor site come in. Personally, I think it is the best site on this map. It allows you to take the benefits of the third floor, take the difficulty of making that horizontal take, and then also force your opponent to not only do that, but do that in time for them to take the second floor. And I think that a team that is strategically very good is able to make that work. Now, from what I've seen so far, I haven't been able to do the VOD review. The inkling that I'm getting is that Florida is a very frag-heavy team. They rely on the gun skill of their players, and they don't have the depth of strategy. Going into this match, they picked Coastline, and that did indicate that they were expecting them to be better in terms of their 50-50 gunfights. Now, that obviously was not the case. KSU were able to find the kills, able to find the frags, and now they just look like the better team in nearly every metric. KSU, they look drilled, they look like the better strategic team in addition to the fragging team. And I think that as teams are going to need to go back to the drawing board to figure out what went wrong, how do we really approach this match, and how do we make these needed changes. Because, honestly, I'd love this game to go to a third map, but I really don't see it going there at this point.
Let's try to break down what happens on a defensive loss for Florida. I feel like it is comprised of two factors. The early death of roamers, and kind of part of that is not enough time being wasted. And adding on in conjunction, success in vertical. Kitchen is one of those bomb sites where, unfortunately, there's only a couple spots where you can play successfully. When you're thinking of those spots, key one that comes to mind is Rice, which is just next to the kitchen prep window. You can play kind of over by kitchen cooking just so long as the attackers don't find success. Fortunately, Mango, I think, tagged up more by his teammate than the Jaeger on the receiving end in that Red Stairs engagement. But a kill, an opener for Kentucky, Kennesaw, is a kill nonetheless. The Vigil yet to find his mech, and I don't think the ERC7 gadget has had the effect that they want it to.
Yeah, Vigil staying on this first floor, not exactly the menacing presence that you would expect, and he doesn't even find the kill onto the one health player of Smack. Dr. Popper finds the kill onto Mango, who is very low health after that engagement with Danio, but the side of FPU, once again, we've seen this time and time again, it's a 2v4 now with them on site. The Alda 556 of Dr. Popper has the ability to find these multi-frags, but we have not seen them find these multi-frags. It has been Kennesaw that has been finding these kills, that have just been closing in and suffocating their opponents, and with time running down, it looks like that might be the exact same thing happening in this round.
Well, you better hope you find that Evil Eye before it takes out your planter, but ultimately, I think it did reach the cooldown point before taking down that player. It's still going on, and ooh, Smack, so close there. Labeled Space Girl still doing on cams. Gotta get off Twitter and come fight. And unfortunately, though, it will be yet another game where Kennesaw only have one lost round in the first half, and well, you saw how Coastline went when they exited the first half in that state. There's only 2 more rounds for them to win, and Smack getting the Vigil kill, that was kind of a fumble, kind of a misplay. I don't think that really has as much consequences you could analyze, but him just being allowed to sit at the double doorway into kitchen cooking, or kitchen prep rather, is just so, there's so many problems with these like mispositioning situations. Maestro still being on an Evil Eye with plant down and only one teammate left. So they brought the Vigil. They made the right change, but it didn't have the effect they wanted to. And I think, I don't know if that's maybe Goku playing more careful than he wants to, because he recognizes in rounds where he dies, the rest of his team tends to lose.
I am perplexed by this round. Maestro bringing barbed wire and Alibi bringing impacts. It's interesting to see that, to say the very least. Danio, once again, we saw him bringing the bringing the Blackbeard in the previous match, it didn't do anything as they were shut down in the first round. And I got word by my producer that it is Stop Step Bro who is the IGL. He's a fragging IGL, and that's scary. Usually the IGL is a player that usually stays back and lets the more fragging players on the team do the work. But they're all stepping up, and KSU, they just remind me of just the style of BTS. They have the aggression to match, and as you can see, they're just finding every single frag. KSU's playbook, while it has some amazing defaults, it has revolved around Mango Go Frag, Smack Go Frag, with the lesser-known McCool Go Frag. And while Daniel is able to find an initial kill, that is your Ash off the board, that is your explosive utility, and with so many deployable shields, with your castle barricades, this is going to be a massive challenge for the side of FPU. They're finding their frags, but it is just so difficult when every single player on KSU can step up, and now your hero of Goku is gone. I struggle to see how FPU bring this out of the hole.
I'm confused what Smack was doing at the trash doorway, because that's a position you never go to. You don't stand in that doorway because you know what'll happen. You'll have somebody peek you from Skylight and you'll lose that gunfight. I guess we can look at the strategy here from Kennesaw. They've got almost kind of a varsity style defense, bringing a Wamai alibi castle, but the places that they've deployed these castle barricades in are really unusual. I don't see the bathroom doorway castle almost ever. The cigar shop one is something we usually see when you've got a smoke available there, but maybe it won't have as much of an effect because Florida are not even in cigar yet.
Yeah. Kennesaw, they're just finding their frags, and I would criticize some aspects of their strategy. I think that Alibi is an interesting operator. If you play around her correctly, then you can definitely use her. Drazo will withstand, so he will still be a 3v5, but I think Stakes, a deployable shield could be in order, and Mango, so close. That would be the kill being found. IQ vaulting in through Skylight. I don't know what he's doing there. Lone Sniper finds a kill, but while vaulting through, which is crazy. But it's just left on to Draza with 5 health and a dream, spotted out by the motion sensor and shut down by the IGL of Kennesaw. And I don't know what the strategy exactly was from Kennesaw. Like you were saying, some interesting castle barricades, some interesting secondary gadget utility being brought by them. But it doesn't matter exactly how interesting their strategies are if they're just winning their gunfights. And Florida, they've just hit a brick wall in this series. They've been able to accomplish next to nothing. And Kennesaw, nothing against Florida, but they've just looked like head and shoulders the better team from start to finish.
Well, one thing you can say about their strategy is that it was successful. They weren't able to remove the player on Pixel, which is the crucial step for attacking the top layer. They weren't even able to, I believe, get into Cigar, period. Maybe somebody was on a window rappel, but they never even set foot in there, which is like the #1 thing you must do. They didn't thermite, Ace, X-Kairos, Maverick open the red wall. It never was open, and that's to get into Cigar Shop. That's what you have to do. Everyone knows it. Even if you play in ranked, you have to bring a thermite to get that wall open. And the castle barricade inside of Cigar Shop ultimately was, I think, expert. And to see Florida struggle so much on the most well-understood bomb site for this map is a big warning sign, and makes me think we're heading to the same scoreline as Coastline in a 7-1.
Yeah. I'd expect that most teams know how to play Cafe, given that it is probably your most commonly played map in the T3 scene. the T3 trifecta, as some of my other casters would call it, being, of course, Clubhouse, Villa, and Cafe. And Kennesaw, they've just looked dominant from start to finish. They have a very heavy roam presence in this match. Smack on the third floor, knocking things out. This could be an absolutely disastrous mistake from the side of FPU, as he's still lurking with Mango. And if they leave them late into this round, they could just end this round single-handedly. But Stop Step Bro finding 2 kills with the same Nitro Cell, and now Smack and Mango finding frags on the roam. This is over.
Well, it's a bit harsh, but I have to agree with your view of the situation. You have no soft breach left, and you've yet to clear the roamers. I think Danio's position is known. And the Jackal almost gets him, but Stakes goes down elsewhere on the map. I'm worried that these 2 players are split up, being that Danio is on low health, and the Jackal has yet to kill someone whose position he knows. Maybe they're just gonna give up on the Jaeger, though. I feel like Jackal doesn't know what he wants to do.
Yeah. If I was him, I wouldn't know what to do at this point. It's just such a difficult predicament for them to be in. They don't have the utility that they need. They're in such a difficult position, and Stop Step Bro now with the shotgun combined with McCool in these close positions, time ticking down. They're just going to be funneled into these close positions, and Smack still on the flank, crucially able to shut down this round, finding the initial kill. Just a 1v3 remaining from Dr. Popper, and this looks just so lights out of a performance from KSU.
There's not much else you can say about it. Dr. Popper will confirm his earlier down to Smack, and now with such little health, it's going to be a very difficult task. The big question is... Okay, no time for questions. McCool will get the final kill. Kennesaw will take the series 2-0, only dropping a total of 2 rounds. An incredibly strong performance. Their attacking executes were unrivaled.
Yeah. They just looked like just the better team from start to finish. I'm looking at the kill feed right here. Smack has been honestly one of the standout players of this series, double digits in both maps, considering that only 8 rounds transpired for each of those maps. Finding double digits in both of them is ridiculous. And I think that just goes to show the consistency of KSU. They're all there. They can all show up on the day. And while they do have the ridiculous play styles that we see of very frag heavy teams, they have the strategies to back it up. They're not just a one-trick pony. They have the adaptation. They have the IGL skills to make the calls quickly. And more importantly, they're never stuck in a position of indecision. They're not having these issues that just have things tick down time and time again, and they just look like an absolutely solid roster. I'm excited to see them now they've advanced to the playoffs, how they perform against our other top teams. They look well prepared to take on the top rosters, and I'm excited to see how they go in the playoff bracket.
All right, well, that's about it for our first series of the evening. We'll be headed to a short break, and after that, we've got a hell of a series for our second game. That'll be Akron R6 versus the Université de Montréal. So stick around for us. After the break, we'll be back with that awesome banger of a series.
you say it like that? If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill. Sleep, never say you're sorry. Oh, maybe I'll leave, baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a